Let's look at density and volume today. So a hemispheric tank is filled with water and has a diameter of 10 feet. If a water weighs 62.4 pounds per cubic foot, what is the total weight of the water in a full tank to the nearest pound? So the first thing we want to go ahead and look at is the shape of this tank. It is hemispherical, okay, which means half of a sphere. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that piece out. Okay, so down here, I'm going to go and say, okay, we've got a hemisphere. Okay, it looks something like this. Okay, and what it also tells us about this hemisphere is that it has a diameter of 10 feet. Well, if it has a diameter of 10 feet, we know that the radius of this must be 5. So we're going to take that diameter, we're going to cut it in to 5 feet, because we know that the diameter is 10 feet. So we cut it in half. Now, the thing that we also know is that volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed, okay? And what we're going to end up looking for is the total weight if we know that it weighs 62.4 pounds per cubic foot. So now what it's actually given us is the density. How do I know that is the density? Well, I know density equals mass divided by volume, or mass per volume. And it says weighs 62.4, so there is 62.4 pounds per cubic foot. So I know that the density is equal to 62.4. Once we know that, we can go ahead and figure out the volume of this sphere. We know that the radius is 5, so let's get back to that. And I'm going to say, all right, well, let's do 4/3 pi times 5 cubed for the volume of the sphere. Okay, so I'm going to come over and let's go ahead and type that in. 4/3 pi times 5 cubed. And that gives us a total value of 523. Now, the one thing that tells us is that the volume of this is 523, and that is in cubic feet. Okay, but we only need half of that because it is only a hemisphere. So I'm going to take that 523 and I'm going to cut it in half because it is a hemisphere. Okay, and let's go ahead and do that. Let's go to Desmos and let's cut this in half. And it is going to give us 261.79. Let's go with 261.8. So the volume is 261.8, and it will be cubic feet. So now we can go back to our density formula, because our goal is what is the total weight? What is the total weight of the full water tank? So let's come back to our density formula. Density equals mass times volume, and let's fill it in. So I know D is going to be 62.4. I know our volume, which we determined was 261.8. And we can go ahead and find our mass or our weight in this case. How do we do that? We just multiply by 261.8 on both sides, 261.8. Go to Desmos and let's type it in, 261.8 times, let's go back, find that value, times 62.4. And it'll give us 16,336.3. So 16,336.3. And that is, we're talking about total weight in pounds. That will be in pounds. So the first thing we ended up doing was determining that we needed to find the volume of the hemisphere. We also looked at the fact that we were given the density. And once we were given the density, we were able to find the mass just by doing a little bit of calculations using the formula. Density equals the mass divided by volume.